of a certain age, and life changes, the body changes.
In 2020, the world essentially came to a standstill. People were afraid to leave their homes because of COVID-19. Long-term relationships collapsed, the economy took a serious hit, jobs disappeared, and yet somehow, STD rates climbed. But there was one person whose star was rising during all of that chaos: Kevin Samuels. His live streams were pulling in anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 viewers at a time. But on this particular day, before he even opened the lines to callers, he was breaking down the turbulent relationship between 50 Cent and Vivica A. Fox. His central argument was straightforward. Vivica A. Fox had underestimated the man that 50 Cent would eventually become. She was older than him. At the time they were together, 50 hadn't yet accumulated the life experience or the success he'd later be known for. They only dated for roughly 4 months, and yet, even in 2020, Kevin Samuels was pointing out that Vivica appeared to be the one still carrying the weight of that split. The question he posed was simple. When those two went their separate ways to chase their own paths, who actually looked more hurt, Curtis Jackson or Vivica A. Fox? And Kevin Samuels wasn't done. He went further. Have you guys looked at the way Vivica looks these days? Every time you see her, she looks like she's been sucking on a bag of lemons. I remember back in the 90s when Vivica was hot. Now that was a sharp comment. Some might say too sharp. But there was an observation underneath it. By that point, it was fairly noticeable that Vivica A. Fox's appearance had been shifting, likely due to cosmetic procedures, and the changes were hard to ignore. Kevin Samuels used that as the foundation for his closing point. So many women, like Vivica A. Fox, have already met their guy, and they blew it. That was his core message. Women who have their youth, their options, and their leverage often let a genuinely good man walk away and only realize what they lost once it's too late. Kevin Samuels would go on to dominate the internet conversation throughout 2021 and into 2022. Then, on May 5, 2022, he passed away from a heart attack in Atlanta, Georgia. The news hit hard across a wide range of people, fans, critics, and everyone in between. His death was sudden, and many were genuinely shaken by it. But for Vivica A. Fox, that moment gave her an opening.
In my honest opinion, he really was. I didn't find anything about him to be healing. He insulted African-American women on a consistent basis. One of his last statements that he said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, that you're no good and disposable. To me, it was a shock jock. And, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world, that when karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind.
Now, a lot of people looked at Vivica's response and called it out for exactly what it was: insensitive. Yes, Kevin Samuels had taken shots at her first. That part is fair. But to publicly comment that he died quickly, almost dismissively, was widely considered a classless move. And to this day, she has never issued an apology for it. But here's the thing. Just because Kevin Samuels said something harsh doesn't mean the underlying point wasn't valid. Now, looking at Vivica in 2022, she still looked well put together. But then footage and photos from around 2024 started circulating, and something had clearly changed. Her appearance had shifted noticeably. Her face looked fuller, and people began speculating about what had happened. Nobody could say for certain, but the difference was hard to miss. And on top of that, she gave an interview where she openly admitted she was looking to date, but added that the options out there felt limited. Are you dating? Yeah, I want to date. It's limited resources out there. And that right there was the moment a lot of people pointed back to Kevin Samuels' entire argument. Vivica A. Fox was beautiful, she was successful, but by many accounts, her own attitude and personal choices created a pattern that kept her from building something lasting with a man. She had been married at least once to singer Christopher Harvest, also known by his stage name SLIM, where she was 34 at the time and reportedly carrying the financial weight of the relationship. Then came the opportunity with 50 Cent, which also fell apart. And now, years later, she was publicly saying the dating pool felt scarce. Around this same period, criticism of her appearance was growing louder, and it wasn't just coming from men. People across the board felt that Vivica's look had changed dramatically, and unfortunately, some of that conversation turned into outright mockery. One comedian in particular, Dave Martin, posted a photo with a caption that read, "Whew, Vivica Fox, thank you for declining. I dodged a bullet." The post racked up a significant number of likes and shares, but when the criticism came rolling in, Dave Martin didn't back down. He came back and responded directly.
Also a debate in the comments about whether this is Vivica Fox's karma, her dating woes, from Kevin Samuels, because she spoke disparagingly about his death, and she said his death was his karma.
And there it is again. That word keeps coming up. Karma. The very thing she put out into the world when she dismissed Kevin Samuels' passing, many felt was now coming back around to her in the form of public ridicule about her own appearance. The irony wasn't lost on people. But Vivica A. Fox wasn't going to stay quiet about it. She would eventually come out and address her critics directly, and she did it recently.
Of a certain age, and life changes, the body changes, and you're not going to be the same size that you were when you were 19, 20 years old. But people forget that sometimes, and they can say very mean things to you. But I have to remember, I'm a woman, and I am comfortable in the skin I'm in, flaws and all. So, I'm in a business that, you get judged by your looks constantly, especially if you were like, a hot chick and stuff like that. Sometimes people don't allow you the grace to age, to be normal, to live a little bit, to have children, to look a little bit more mature, to age. To age is a blessing and a beautiful thing. And so if you don't listen to the chatterbox and stay true to who you are and love who you are, it can destroy you. It really can.
And it's clear that Vivica A. Fox is genuinely hurt by the ongoing conversation about her appearance. That's understandable on a human level. Women who are considered strikingly beautiful in their 30s do look different as the years go by. That's just reality, and it applies to everyone. But here's the part that gets overlooked. For a lot of people, the appearance commentary isn't really the root of the issue. It's her behavior. Because when you look at other women in the same industry, around the same age, who've also gone through visible physical changes over the years, women like Jill Scott, the late Angie Stone, or Janet Jackson, whose weight has fluctuated publicly throughout her career, you don't hear anywhere near the same level of criticism directed at them. The mockery, the memes, the constant commentary, it just doesn't follow them the way it follows Vivica. And the reason for that comes down to one thing: attitude. Those women are not generally perceived as carrying a negative or dismissive energy toward others, so even when their looks change, people extend them grace. With Vivica A. Fox, the sentiment is different, and the reason why people keep coming back to her specifically comes down to this.
For that is, they have bad character, they have a bad personality, they don't have the wisdom, they don't have the intellect, they don't have the things that they should have at their age. They make life hard, not just for themselves, but the people around them. Then we want to add the fact that they are out of their prime. They're out of the typical baby making ages. So yes, women in that category have hit the wall.
And here's the reality of it. When you're beautiful, you can somewhat get away with a difficult personality. People overlook a lot when the packaging is appealing. But when the years pass, the looks begin to fade, and the attitude never changes, that's when it all catches up with you. People remember how you made them feel, and without that physical leverage to fall back on, there's very little left to soften the perception. You can stand in front of a camera and declare that you're confident and unbothered all you want, but if people have already decided they don't want to be around your energy, that confidence doesn't carry much weight. And when the appearance starts to shift on top of that, it only gives the critics more to work with. So what's the actual takeaway here? It's simple. Life is about far more than looks. It always has been. Your attitude, how you carry yourself, and how you treat people, those things follow you in ways that beauty never can. Looks are temporary. Character is permanent. Vivica A. Fox has had a remarkable career, but by most accounts, she has consistently struggled in her personal relationships with men, rarely taken accountability for her role in those situations, and carried an attitude that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way over the years. And even now, with Kevin Samuels gone, the argument he built around her story continues to prove itself out, and if anything, it's only gotten stronger with time. So drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you make of all this? This is your host, O'Shea Jackson, coming at you with another episode of Celebrity Junk. As always, truly appreciate the support. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. We'll see you on the next one.